Hey, this is Andrew, and in this tutorial we're looking at the JetTricks 2.0 release. The big update is full compatibility with Gutenberg blocks. We've also got a brand new effect plus some new controls. Previously, JetTricks worked only with widgets, and in this video I'll show you how it now works with blocks. So here's the page we'll be working with. Right now it's just a simple layout built entirely in the block editor. Just a clean static page structure. And importantly, right now there are no animations or effects applied. I do already have the JetTricks plugin installed and activated, so next we'll start bringing this layout to life. So let's jump in. Now once JetTricks is enabled, things start showing up right inside the editor. If I click on any block, at least any native Gutenberg block, and open the settings panel, you'll notice a new section called JetTricks. Inside you get a list of available effects, things like Tooltip, Parallax, etc. Each of these has a plus button next to it, and once you click it, you get access to the activation toggle and settings for that effect. And when an effect is enabled, that plus icon switches to a check mark, so you can instantly see what features are active on the block. So overall, everything is applied directly on the block level. No separate interface, no extra setup. Another thing to keep in mind, most of these effects actually add visual elements that you can style. And since Crocoblock now has styling built directly into blocks, there's no need for a separate JetStyle manager anymore. So when you enable an effect and switch to the Styles tab on the block, you'll often see a dedicated section with styling controls for that specific effect. So now you can fully control how animations look right inside the same block. So these are essentially the core controls we'll be using to build out all the animations on this page. Now let's actually start applying them and see what we can do here. I want to start with the one that's actually new, Scroll Reveal. This is a pretty popular effect. It animates elements as they enter the viewport. It's great for adding a bit of flow to the page and keeping users engaged as they move down. So let me take this paragraph block. Enable Scroll Reveal. And now we get the settings. As with other effects, you've got the main toggle plus responsive controls, so you can choose where the effect runs, desktop, table, or mobile. These controls are new to the plugin and will appear in the Elementor editor as well. One thing to note, JetTricks effects will not fully preview inside the editor, so it's best to check them on the front as you go. Now for the animation types. You've got Fade, probably the most common one, Zoom in and Zoom out, Flip effects, which add a bit of a 3D feel, and Mask, which reveals the element using a moving overlay. Then you've got timing controls, Duration, how long the animation lasts, Delay, how long it will wait before starting, and Viewport offset, basically when the animation should trigger relative to the screen. There's also the option to animate only once, so it doesn't repeat every time you scroll. Now this effect isn't limited to single blocks, you can also apply it to containers, like this group of service cards, and treat everything inside as one animated element. And for these three cards, I'll add a slight delay difference to create a more dynamic effect. And if we switch to the mask animation, there are a few extra options. You can control the direction the mask moves to, and in the Styles tab you can customize things like mask color and border radius. So you can either match it with the background for a subtle reveal, or go with a contrasting color to really focus user attention on it. Overall, it's a simple effect, but it adds a lot in terms of visual rhythm. Next, let's look at the Parallax effect. This one lets you control how fast elements move relative to the page as you scroll. So instead of everything moving at the same speed, you can make some elements move slower or faster, which creates a sense of depth. And it works best when you apply it consistently across multiple elements, so you feel that layered effect. I'll start with these three blocks in the Hero section, beginning with the heading. Once I enable Parallax, The main control here is speed, which defines how fast the element moves relative to the page while scrolling. There's also the invert toggle. When it's enabled, the element moves in the opposite direction. So as you scroll down, it moves up. So I'll apply parallax to all three elements here using slightly different speeds to create some variation. Now for the images. To create a sense of depth, I'll make the top image move a bit faster. And the one behind it, it will move more slowly, even slightly against the scroll direction by adjusting the invert setting. This way, they start to feel like they're placed on different layers. And I'll make similar adjustments to the elements in the bottom banner section. Another effect that changes how elements behave on scroll is sticky column. This one lets you keep a column fixed on the page within its container borders, while the rest of the content continues to scroll. This effect is applied to column blocks. Once enabled, you get a few key settings. First, sticky align, top, center or bottom, which defines where the element sticks within the viewport. Then top spacing, this controls how much space is left from the top of the screen before the element locks into place. Bottom spacing defines how close the element can get to the bottom of its container before it starts moving again. And Z-index controls layering, useful if other elements overlap while scrolling, so you can define what stays on top. This effect is especially useful in more functional layouts. A common example would be a filter sidebar next to a product grid or post listing, where filters stay visible while users scroll through content. Next, let's look at the satellite effect. This one lets you place additional elements like text or images in relation to a specific block. So instead of being part of the layered flow, they're anchored to an element and positioned freely around it. Let's take this text block. I'll enable satellite, and here we can choose the type of content. I'll go with text. Then just enter the text we want to display. You can also make it a link if needed. Now for positioning. First you choose a base position like top, center or side, and then fine-tune it with X and Y offset controls. You can also rotate the element to get a more dynamic look. And in the Styles tab, you can fully customize its appearance, typography, color, and so on. You won't see the final effect directly in the editor, so it's best to preview it on the front end. I'll also add another satellite to this image block and a pricing card, just to show you how you can use the effect in different parts of the layout. And overall, this is especially useful for adding decorative details, labels, or callouts that makes the design look less constrained by the grid. Finally, let's add one more element, Tooltip. This lets you show additional content when users interact with an element, usually on hover or click, which is great for adding info without cluttering the layout. I'll apply tooltips to these service images. First, we've got the content. Just enter the text you want to display. HTML is supported, so you can format it or even add links. Then placement, which defines where the tooltip appears relative to the element. Right below that, there's the show arrow option. It adds a small pointer that visually connects the tooltip to the element. Next, animation, how the tooltip appears, and trigger. Mouse enter is the standard hover. Click triggers it on click, and focus is mainly for keyboard navigation. You can also combine these. There's also an option to make the tooltip follow the cursor, plus delay and offset controls for fine positioning and timing. Z-index handles layering if elements overlap. Append tooltip to defines where the tooltip is rendered, inside the block or at the document level, and custom selector lets you attach the tooltip to a specific element inside the block instead of the whole block. Finally, in the Styles tab, you can fully customize its look, typography, colors, spacing, and the arrow. Overall, this is perfect for adding hints, explanations, or interactive details while keeping the design clean. So that's it. Now let's take a look at how all of this comes together on the front end. Right away, the page feels more alive. As you scroll, elements don't just appear, They reveal themselves with motion, which adds rhythm and keeps your attention while moving down the page. Satellite elements follow the same scroll reveal behavior of the blocks they are attached to. Parallax adds depth. Elements move at different speeds so the layout feels less flat. Sticky element keeps important content in place, making sections easier to navigate and interact with. And tooltips add those small interactive details, extra information exactly where you need it without clutter. Individually, these are simple effects, but when you combine them thoughtfully, they really change how the page feels, making it more dynamic, more engaging and more intentional. As you can see, JetTricks really brings a new level of flexibility to Gutenberg. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, leave a comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.